How do poles affect RC brushless motor performance? Have you ever wondered how the number of poles in a brushless motor impacts its performance? Let's break it down in simple terms. The poles in a motor refer to the magnetic poles, which are the north and south ends of the rotor. Most brushless motors have an even number of poles, like 2, 4, 6, or 8. This arrangement is important because it affects how the motor operates. First, let's talk about speed. The speed of a brushless motor is measured by its kV rating, which tells you how many revolutions per minute the motor will spin for each volt applied when there is no load. If you have a motor with 2 poles, it will have a higher kV rating, meaning it spins faster. On the other hand, a motor with 4 poles will spin slower for the same voltage. This happens because more poles mean that the motor's magnetic field completes more cycles for each revolution, which effectively lowers the mechanical speed. Next, let's discuss torque. Torque is the force that helps the motor accelerate or pull heavy loads. Generally, more poles in a motor increase the torque output, especially at lower speeds. This is because each pole creates more magnetic interactions as the rotor turns, allowing the motor to generate more force. Larger motors with more poles often provide the strong acceleration needed in applications like RC trucks or boats. Another important aspect is smoothness of operation. Motors with more poles tend to have less torque ripple and cogging torque. This means they operate more smoothly, especially at low speeds. This smoothness is crucial for precise control in RC vehicles, making them easier to handle. However, in some designs, like inrunners, having more poles can actually increase cogging torque, so the effects can vary based on the motor type. When it comes to electrical components, having more poles also affects the electronic speed controller, which is the device that regulates the motor's speed. More poles mean that the controller has to switch the electrical current more frequently. This can lead to increased heat and energy loss, so it is important for the controller to handle these higher frequencies efficiently. Now let's look at practical applications. If you are into high-speed RC cars or drones, you might want to choose motors with fewer poles, like 2 or 4. These motors will give you the speed you need. However, if you are working with RC vehicles that requiring strong torque and smooth control at lower speeds, such as crawlers or larger models, motors with 6 or more poles are the way to go. In summary, the number of poles in an RC brushless motor plays a significant role in determining its speed, torque, and smoothness of operation. More poles provide lower speed but higher torque and smoother performance, while fewer poles favor higher speed with less torque. Choosing the right motor depends on what you need for your specific RC application.